What's up, guys? Welcome back to Airbnb ABCs. As you guys can see here, I have a full-on COVID beard that I normally don't have. I think I'm at the tail end of it, but I could hack and cough occasionally, and so you guys had to bear with me. It hasn't been awful, but it has been definitely a long, drawn-out thing, and it wasn't fun, and I'm not looking forward to doing it again in the future. But what I have been doing during this time is looking at a lot of social media, just kind of sitting on my phone with no energy, and I've scrolled a lot of TikTok and I've read a lot of online articles, and one of the biggest ones, I'm sure that it comes to my algorithm since I do lots of Airbnb type of stuff, is all the folks that are hating on Airbnb, saying that they're going to start using hotels again versus Airbnbs, and just hating on the short-term rental market for a various amount of reasons, being that they're saying that Airbnbs have gotten too expensive, that there is unrealistic short lists, that there's cameras everywhere watching them, that the Airbnbs are crappy, that there's a lot of taxes and fees and such that are added onto your reservation. And, you know, some of this may be true and a lot of it is not true, but they say they're going back to hotels. And so today we're going to look at hotels versus an Airbnb, specifically my Airbnbs, and I'm going to squash a whole bunch of these things as either simply not true or that they just really don't compare whatsoever. So if you guys don't mind, hit the subscribe button if this is your first time here with us. If not, if you've been with us for a while, hit that like button for me. It really helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, and I'm going to show you hotels versus an Airbnb cabin in the Smokies. When you look at all these complaints that people have on Airbnbs or VRBOs or any type of short-term rental, one of the biggest ones is just that they have gotten so expensive. There's, you know, a lot of these other complaints, there may be some legitimacy to them. There are bad Airbnbs out there. I am 100% positive of that, as I'm sure that there are bad hotels out there. A lot of times people will say that Airbnbs and short-term rentals are starting to take up the housing market from people that can't afford housing. And while I think that a lot of that is overblown, there are some markets where the Airbnbs could be eating into the housing stock in just regular cities where, you know, people typically live. The places where we buy Airbnbs are places that are short-term rental vacation destinations. They have been forever, and the housing stock is just not conducive to living in whatsoever. They're usually very small square footage for the amount of bedrooms. There's no storage, there's no garages, there's no basements or anything like that. So our Airbnbs are not competing with the housing market. But the number one thing that I keep hearing is that they are so expensive. And the reason for this, I think, is that Airbnbs used to be cheap. If you look where Airbnb started from and what the actual name of Airbnb is, it means it's a conglomeration of air mattress, bed, and breakfast. And it used to be where people would rent out spare rooms, a couch, an air mattress, back when the whole economy was coming down. Airbnb started in August of 2008. Things were coming apart in the economy, and people were able to rent out their spare rooms or couch or whatever to make a little bit of money. And this might be where the younger millennials or the Gen Zers are starting to get that first little taste of nostalgia, thinking back to the way things used to be before we got to where we are today. With lots of markets, things change over time, and that, you know, Airbnb and you know, VRBO has really never been a cheap overnight stay, couch surfing type of thing. That has pretty much always been vacation rentals by owner, and so they've always kind of had this higher end properties, longer stays, things of that nature. But Airbnb has definitely shifted, and it's been going on for a long time. And I was actually never involved in the original Airbnb, like the couch surfing type of movement. I got into this when it was already very nice properties, but you can tell that Airbnb has rebranded itself to be completely a very nice stay type of organization with their new branding, you know, separating things into houses, cabins, oh my God listings, and they are looking for unique experiences and higher end experiences. The days of the couch surfing thing, I believe, are over. And so when you're looking at what has changed as far as price points goes, as these experiences, as these stays have gotten nicer, obviously the price is going to go up. And when you compare Airbnb properties in general to a hotel, and especially our Airbnb properties to a hotel, it's obvious that we kill them on our amenities, on the value that you're getting for your dollar, and sometimes even the price. So when you rent one of our cabins, or pretty much any other type of Airbnb for the type of investors that I typically network with, we have a lot of the same things in common. We are listing top tier properties on Airbnb, VRBO, and we're doing that at a rate that we try to get the most money for our properties, because we are offering top tier experiences, properties. Everything is in great shape. But what you're going to get for one, privacy. You are not going to have to listen to your neighbors on either side, or top floor and bottom floor, either fighting or loving. You're not going to have to listen to that, and you're not going to have to see them in the morning walking out of rooms or walking next to each other. You're going to get a fully equipped kitchen in our places, a full-size refrigerator, stove, microwave, dishwasher, all the dishes that you're going to be able to need to create any type of meal that you want. You can, eat in or not, but you still have that full kitchen where you can hang out at, put your, drink on a counter, whatever. We have fireplaces. In one of our cabins, we have 2 fireplaces. They're wood burning, and one is even outdoors and covered. You're not going to find that in a hotel. You're just not going to find that. You have private bedrooms. That is another thing that typically hotels aren't going to have is private bedrooms, and more than one of them. Usually with a hotel, you're looking at either a king or a couple of queens and 250 square feet, and that is it, unless you are willing to pay for a suite, which is probably going to cost you a sweet amount of money compared to getting an Airbnb. In addition to that, you a lot of times have private living rooms, private game rooms, multiple private bathrooms, hot tubs, jacuzzis, unique architecture and decor. You're going to rent a cabin in the woods. Probably every single one that you rent is going to be a little bit different. If you rent a hotel room, even in probably one of the nicest hotels on earth, which is probably, for the experience, Disney, a lot of people have gone to Disney. If you've paid very close attention to the rooms, from the lowest cost room, like for example, I think that they're the all-star resorts, up to the highest end rooms like the Grand Floridian, unless you're paying for like a very special room, they are pretty much the exact same room. They just take in, church them up with different decorations. I think the higher end rooms, they put sliding doors in front of where the bathroom is, but that's it. All the rooms are basically the same. In our mountain cabins, you're going to get views of the mountains, you're going to get maybe views of creeks, you're going to get all different sorts of views, and you're going to have, large decks, community pools, and things that you're just not going to get with any type of hotel. When, a hotel may have a community pool, but it's usually, adjacent to the parking lot. One of our cabins has 3 different community pools. They're sporadically located within the mountains. The views are amazing, and it's just not going to be the same as a pool that is in a parking lot that is overlooked by 30 or 40 balconies. It's not great. Hotels are going to, at best, have views of the parking lot, unless you have a specific hotel that you know of that has like tremendous views somewhere. You're going to get either views of a parking lot or probably a major road that it sits off of. You're going to have a couple of queen beds in about a 250 square foot room with a bathroom that is attached directly to the room. You're going to maybe get a continental breakfast, which is probably going to consist of microwavable muffins and some bananas, because you're not going to be able to create any meals or anything in your room because there is no kitchen or anything else that you may get in an Airbnb. So our place is going to run somewhere between $175 a night and $300 a night during normal portions of the year. You can find it for less money during slower portions of the year, and then it also does get dramatically more expensive during the very high demand times like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and such like that. That's going to be plus taxes and fees, and those are just the way that it works with Airbnb, VRBO. They have to make money to pay their people, their customer support people, to pay for the different insurances that they offer the hosts and guests. While a hotel room is probably going to cost about the same amount of money plus taxes, but without the fees because they build those in. So while it may be slightly cheaper sometimes to rent a hotel room, you are not going to get the same amenities. You're not going to get the same level of comfort and room to spread out. There is not a hotel, I'm going to say, on earth that is going to be able to compare with what I give you for amenities, space, and privacy. anywhere near the same price that I'm going to be able to offer you my Airbnb for the rate plus the taxes plus the fees. The second biggest thing that I see is that people complain constantly about the cleaning fees, and they're always, saying, well, they're so high. There's so much that you have to do when you check out. And this is why we're going back to hotels, because we're tired of paying this cleaning fee. And people lose it on the cleaning fees, and it's a very usually small portion of the total rate that people pay. And the funny thing is that a lot of these people that are complaining about these cleaning fees, these are the same people who are the shop local, living wage type of folks that are always pushing, more money on the hour, and always shop local. Don't shop at Amazon, don't shop at Target or Walmart or whatever. But at the same time, they want to stay at a hotel, and a hotel is typically a mega corporation, and they typically pay their people slave wages, where you're basically doing the opposite of what you were saying. When we hire local cleaners, we are hiring local business people that employ, sometimes they're either self-employed and they do it themselves, or they employ other locals, and we are paying people a living wage. When we are paying our cleaners, all we have ever done when we pay our cleaners is pay them exactly what they have asked for. And so along with this cleaning fee that it goes towards a local contractor to feed their family, to survive and probably make a living wage, because when we look at what we're paying our folks, we're paying anywhere from $130 to $150 a clean. They're there for usually about an hour and a half, and I would assume probably with the rest of their work, as far as commuting, getting the laundry done, and folding it and bringing it all back, they probably have 3 hours into that, maybe 4 hours. So you're looking at about $50 or so an hour before taxes, of course. And I think that is a pretty reasonable living wage. And that's why when we get these quotes from these folks, as long as it's within what we see on the industry wide for that area, I'm not going to haggle. I'm not going to haggle them for $10 or $15 to try to get my cleaning fee a little bit cheaper, because they're out there doing the work and they should get paid what they feel is fair for their time. The next thing is that people complain about these chores when they have to check out. And I see all sorts of complaints. And some things I think are probably unreasonable, and some are very reasonable. And it goes for, doing dishes, mopping, starting laundry. I've heard of mowing the grass and stripping beds and stuff. For the most part, this isn't a widespread thing. I've stayed in Airbnbs, and I have never had any type of crazy outlandish stuff like sweep and mop the floors or mow the grass or whatever. And when I set out to do this, I wanted people to be able to get out of there with the most minimal things to do. You guys are on vacation. You're not going to want to do a whole bunch of chores before you check out. And these three things that I ask people to do is take out the trash, start the dishwasher, and throw your towels on the floor. And there's a reason that we need you to do this versus hotels, which are basically just get out and stay out. Taking out the trash is very easy. The reason hotels don't ask you to do this, you usually don't have a lot of trash. You're not cooking breakfast. You're not going out, and most people aren't staying there for a week, so you're not going out to attractions. You're not bringing back a bunch of crap. But they do ask you to put it in the trash can. And so all we ask people to do is take their trash and put it in the trash bin that's immediately outside of the house. You're not putting it in a cart, taking it down an elevator, taking it to a dumpster. It's just right outside. We're just asking people to pick up after themselves. We want you to start the dishwasher. There's two reasons for this. One, because, clean up after yourself. That's not that big of a deal, I don't think, to ask people to put stuff in the dishwasher. We also have a lot of quick turnarounds where we are having people check out at 10 a.m. We are having people check in at 4 p.m. And so our cleaners need to have the most time to get the place ready. And if they have 4 or 5 cleans a day, they can't be going around hand washing all the dishes. The reason hotel rooms don't ask you to do this is because they simply don't have kitchens. They don't have dishes for the most part, and so they don't ask you to do this. And then I think that throwing the towels on the bathroom floor, that's pretty standard across all hospitality, and I have no problem asking for that. And that is it. If a host asks you to do something that is more than that, there's something wrong with that listing then, and you can leave them reviews and you can review them poorly for asking you guys to do crazy stuff like starting tiles, mopping floors, and cutting the grass. Never heard of that, but it's one of the things that's going around right now on a bunch of online magazines, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, hotels and Airbnbs have their place. I still use hotels all the time if I'm traveling and just need like a one night stay over, to sleep and then get back on the road. But if I'm going on a trip, if I'm going to stay someplace for 3 or 4 days or 7 days or longer than just like 1 or 2 nights, I'm definitely going to be looking for a Airbnb, a VRBO, or some sort of resort that I can essentially just direct book, because I don't want to spend my vacation in a hotel room crammed in there with my family, with kids jumping all over the place, stuck in that same room. Each of them has their place, and I think that Airbnbs offer a ton of value for the price, even including the taxes and fees that you get charged. Because, like, for example, we stayed at an Airbnb for 3 nights. We were going to stay at a hotel, but the hotel was terrible. It was dirty. Air conditioning didn't work. It was, it was just awful, and it was a well-rated hotel. We were actually able to cancel there and rebook if for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a living room and a yard Airbnb that was local to the area for actually $100 less altogether, including taxes and fees. And that was a much better experience than us staying in the 4th floor of a non-air conditioned, dirty hotel room. So guys, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up for me. Hit the subscribe button down below if you're new here. Be sure to check out the videos that are on the screen right now. It shows what type of Airbnbs that we have, how we manage them remotely, what we're buying, and just the trials and tribulations of managing an Airbnb business. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you the next one.